Good evening. My name's David, and I'm here to discuss with you the construction of a persuasion speech. Joining me this evening are three imaginary friends of mine, very dear friends. We have Wicket, the Ewok from Star Wars. We have a random panda costume head with a corona mask. And we have this random bunny I found, who is also a dear friend of mine. We're bonding. So without further ado, let's get started. For a persuasive speech, one or more arguments dictate the speaker's appeals. An argument is composed of a claim, which states the speaker's conclusion about some state of affairs, evidence that supports that claim, and warrants which justify why the evidence supports the claim. First, we must identify the nature of our claim. A claim of fact states whether something is true or not, or will not happen, such as Kanye West will be president in 2020. A claim of value will show if something is right or wrong. An example of this could be, do you think children should be put on leashes? A claim of policy is to propose a specific course of actions. We should make kid leashes illegal. Once we establish our claim, we must present convincing evidence to support it. Secondary sources such as testimony or statistics is one type. Also, personal expertise, which uses our own experience and knowledge as evidence. And we could also use evidence that appeals to the audience's needs and motivations. Next, we will want to identify warrants to be used to justify links between our claims and our evidence. And there are a few types. A motivational warrant targets an audience's needs and emotions. An example would be to say, can you really stand to see parents leading their children around on leashes? Authoritative warrants use the credibility of the source of evidence, such as statistics from a government agency. Substantive warrants appeal to an audience's rational thinking. Causal reasoning, or cause or effect, and reasoning by analogy, such as where one is true, so must be the other, are two that are frequently used. When presenting a persuasive speech, one must be prepared to refute counter-arguments as well. Ignoring a counter-argument risks loss of credibility. An attempt at persuasion can become much more successful with adequate refutation. Another thing to be aware of with persuasive speeches is avoiding fallacies in reasoning. These can be false or erroneous statements, or invalid or deceptive lines of reasoning. Excuse me. It is important to be aware of these in order to avoid making them in our own speeches, and also to be able to identify those in the speeches of others. One example is a faulty analogy in which a comparison is made between two things that aren't similar enough to warrant comparing. Another is a hasty generalization, which uses an isolated incident to make a general conclusion. When we've developed our arguments, our final step will be to strengthen our case by organizing and structuring our speech. There are many methods to do so, which may be more or less effective depending on your topic and purpose. A refutation pattern of arrangement would address our main point, then refute any claim to our position. A problem-solving pattern of arrangement would demonstrate the nature and significance of a problem, then provide justification of our proposed solution. So there you have it. A successful attempt at persuading our audience must be well organized and well supported, and contain evidence justification of the use of that evidence. We must be prepared to address counter-arguments and also be careful to avoid fallacies in reasoning. A successful persuasive speech will be well developed and will be well supportive. Are there any questions at this time? Inanimate objects, so no. Thank you very much for your time, and have a lovely rest of your evening. And thank you, guys.